All right. Welcome to Inside Leduc. My name is Tarah Flynn, and I am with Travis Frick from Dream Escape here in Leduc. The point of my podcast was just to make sure, or to get us to go behind the support local program and really get to know the person behind the businesses. So welcome to our podcast today. How are you doing?
Good. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I find your business so fascinating. Would you be able to provide me of a little bit of an elevator pitch for your business?
So we provide, it's both just kind of casual entertainment and also corporate entertainment. In the fact that a lot of corporations use it for team building, but a lot of people just use it for fun of solving puzzles. But basically, a couple or a group get put into a room and they're faced with puzzles, and one puzzle leads into the next puzzle. And you have all of our rooms at our place are 1 hour. So you have an hour to work your way through the rooms and try to solve all the objective basically before the time runs out.
So do you create them yourself, or like how do you figure that part out?
They are, yes, they're all custom made. I come up with the puzzles and how the layout, how the flow of the room goes. And then all the interior design stuff, it's all very family. My father and I build a lot of and father-in-law actually too. We all kind of build the interior of the rooms, and then my wife, mother-in-law, and mom all kind of help like with set design of painting and dolling it up.
Oh, that's so awesome. So, how often do you change your rooms, or like when do you know that you need to change your rooms?
That's a good question. We have never flipped a room yet. We have a pretty big space here. So when we opened in 2017, we opened with 2 rooms. A third room opened about 4 months later. And then our 4th room opened actually after the first lockdown in July of this year. So we have 4 rooms now. And now at this point, we're kind of running out of space. So now it'll probably be the next step would be to start retiring rooms and maybe flipping them over to something new.
So where do you get your inspiration for your rooms? Like how does that thought process work for you?
It takes a long time. I play with a lot of different ideas before I really kind of get stuck with one. The first 2 were kind of designed before any of this became to like fruition. It was all just kind of coming up with ideas. I did escape rooms and I really liked the idea, and for fun was kind of just making them while I was at my job at the time. And I just would come up with the rooms and ideas, and then it slowly became a real thing. But the first 2 rooms it took months of kind of playing with ideas and coming up with themes and stuff like that. But I always try to come up with the theme first and then build puzzles on what I think I can do with the theme. So
where do you get your themes from? Because I know in the front there you have lots of like games and stuff. Do you play some of the games to get your themes, or books, or where do you get your inspiration?
Well, I got to give credit to one of my old partners on the ambulance who actually, one of the rooms we opened up first was, it was like a kidnapped room, and you're kidnapped, but I wanted to have just like a little bit extra than you're just kidnapped. And he was a big comic book fan, so he helped me decide to kind of make up a fake supervillain and make it kind of where he was kidnapped and add the supervillain aspect to it. And yeah, I don't know. And then the other one, casino, it's not an original theme. There's been lots of casinos elsewhere. It's just I kind of took the casino one because I thought I could do a lot of cool things with it.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. I think we've done 2 out of your space. You got to find the right mix of people to do it with, and you got to we got a loss with a really big group, and then me and my husband did it, and then that was a moment. But you got to make sure that you have like the right mix of people to like solve the puzzles and are patient, but yet not at the same time to do them. Like it's quite the experience to run through them.
Yeah, and the experience definitely changes with the group size. Like, so here the minimum group size is 2, and before COVID, the maximum for some of our bigger rooms was like 8 to 10.
Yeah.
So that was usually saved for like corporate, because they really wanted to stress team building. And by far, the more people you have in the room, the way more it's going to stress communication. It's so much harder to try to solve the puzzles when you have to try to relay information between 8 people. And then there's definitely groups that only do it 2 people. They've they've maybe done it in the past with more, didn't like it, so it's just strictly they really want to try to beat the room and get their hands on every piece of the puzzle, so they exclusively do them as 2 people. Some people, like, I find that some people find after they do a few escape rooms, they find the number they like doing it with.
Yeah, for sure. And the person that they can communicate well with. I do got some friends who are like, that's just their escape room buddy. And that's just who they do it with, because they speak the same language and they both look at things differently to get the puzzles. So
oh, for sure. There's some people that take it very casually and it doesn't matter how many, but like I said, some people definitely want to try to set records and beat the room every time. And those kind of groups definitely have specific like numbers and maybe who they won't do rooms with and who they want to do rooms with.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your record? Each room has a record, I take it then?
We do, yeah. We keep track of all-time records, the monthly fastest time, and then we also have an all-time record with no hints, because every room you're allowed 2 hints if you still want to try to make the fastest time board. We do offer unlimited hints, so if you don't care about setting a record, you can just take as many hints as you want. It's just the time won't be recorded.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, we have a special spot for people who beat rooms without taking a single hint. So those are the 3 sections. Yeah, so the casino room is around 35 minutes. The puzzler's 33. And then our cold case hotel murder mystery is 34 minutes. And then our newest room, the submarine crash, is 36 minutes.
Oh, wow. So it's all within that same time range, that like between 30 and 40 there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
some of them are set by the same group.
Oh, that I could believe, actually. Yeah. That I could believe. So what was the inspiration? You went into one, you liked them, you kind of thought about it. Like, what was the inspiration for your business?
Yeah, I basically went and did them. I've always really liked puzzles, so when I found out it was a thing and I did it for the first time, like I said, I just started for fun designing them myself, just on my computer, just in like a Word document. I would lay out my ideas, and then basically it was, I was like, Leduc doesn't have something like this, so maybe it would work in Leduc. Because there's smaller communities than Leduc that had escape rooms at the time. When I was looking into it, I'm not sure if they still are around or what happened. Times are a little different, but at the time, like Cold Lake had an escape room, Camrose had an escape room, and I figured Leduc has a larger population and we're closer to. There is a bit of kind of like a cult following for escape rooms. I get lots of people who travel to try to, like, they're from Edmonton, but they've done every single room in Edmonton, and they'll go on like day trips traveling to do it. So kind of just being having proximity to the capital is also helpful.
That's awesome. So are you from Leduc area, or is that why you picked it? So you're born and raised here?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you never know. You could be like moved here first, but that's awesome. Yeah, it's a nice flavor to have something like this in our community for sure. And you've got a really good location. Like, you are like on the main street, so people can see you, I think. So
it's a little bit offset. We are kind of tucked off in the kind of the strip here. We are set back, but it worked for us because actually when we were looking for a place, the realtor kind of said that the downside of this place is there's no exterior windows, which was actually perfect for us because
Yeah.
we didn't want any exterior windows. So it actually worked in our favor.
Oh, that's awesome. So if you could do anything else, what would you do?
I'd probably go back. So what I worked on before was I was a primary paramedic on the ambulance. And this was actually kind of an idea where I thought I could open up, get it up and running, hire some employees, and actually just go back to the career I had. But as it started running, I definitely was like, running a small business definitely takes way more time and effort. So I never ended up going back. I had my spot saved for a while until I just basically had to let them know that I probably won't be able to make it back. So at this time, I'm still on casually. So if I ever wanted to or needed to or had time extra, I can basically still apply for shifts and go out and work.
Oh, that's cool. So that's a passion job too. So that's pretty awesome that you got two things that can drive your passions in life. And so what was the greatest thing that you've learned about yourself since starting this business?
I don't know.
No? you
I
mentioned
learned about myself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you've mentioned that it was quite a bit of work though. Like, is it like the bookkeeping stuff? Is it just the people coming in, or like where do you find that you spend the most of your time when running your business?
So I definitely liked when the rooms open, and I mean I think continuously, as people play it, I never thought that I opened like a perfect room right off the bat. And I still don't think they're that like perfect. I always like to ask the customers when they're done, or I can just monitor, like there's cameras in every room to just kind of monitor them. Mm-hmm. And I can hear inside the room. And definitely when I start seeing, I mean, the rooms are supposed to be challenging, but sometimes when I see challenges that weren't meant to be, like almost like a accidental red herring, where I just kind of, like in the casino room, I just kind of put a poster of Vegas in the city, like just on the wall, just to be a poster. Yeah. But in a puzzle solve, like when people kind of solve puzzles, they will come up with wild ideas on what that poster must mean.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's like, okay, this has just led people down the wrong trail too many times. It was just supposed to be kind of like a prop, but it has to come out so there's a lot of that that I'm constantly kind of tweaking the room to try to make it less confusing.
No, well, that's good though. That you always need some feedback too. And I'm sure when people come right out, they'll either be right frustrated or right excited, or like they'll be all ready to give you lots of feedback.
Right. Yeah. Because I've always wanted the puzzles to be the challenging part, the puzzles to be what people are working on, not sometimes it's confusing of where the puzzle is or what they're even supposed to be working on. I like our rooms to try to be, that this is probably what you're supposed to be working on. It's just how to solve it, not completely lost. I don't even know what to do, where to go, where to even go next is not the best.
Yeah.
Kind of design wise.
No, for sure. So you mentioned that you get lots of support from all your family. Did you receive any pushback when you said that you wanted to start this as a business for yourself?
No, they are all very in general, a lot of the family, like my mom and mother-in-law are very kind of like crafty. So this was, I think, just like a really fun, big craft project for them. I would basically just kind of tell them like the idea we're going with. So like a room I haven't really talked too much about is like our third room was the hotel murder mystery. And I kind of wanted it to be like almost like a film noir setting. We're kind of, yeah, almost like older. And so they kind of had ideas about that. And I think it was my mother-in-law who actually gave the idea to have kind of almost like a speakeasy kind of underground brewery pub to aspect to the whole room.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's like a true collaboration. So you create the space and it's a collaboration between the whole family to make this come to fruition for your customers.
Yeah, for sure. They introduced me to Pinterest and websites I had never used before.
You can get lost in some Pinterest, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So now that some time has passed, like what's kept you in business for so long? Is it?
I think we've had a lot of good word of mouth from escape rooms or even just like the board games in the front. But I know I get a lot of feedback, even when we were open just before the most recent lockdown. There was a couple from Edmonton that said they literally heard about us, just overheard another couple in a store talking about us and how much they enjoyed the rooms. And they were big escape room players, so they came and played. But a lot of our advertising has just been through like Facebook and Google, and within like the Leduc Rec Center. But a lot of the people I think coming from Edmonton have actually been word of mouth, and I get told that a lot where they come and they say like, well, friends of ours made the trip down here and they said it was really good, so now we're coming and we'll definitely be back type stuff. So.
Oh, you can't really get
always nice to hear.
Yeah, word of mouth is the best way because you know that they're talking prideful about your business and the vision that you've set, right? They've tried it and then they're sharing it with others, right? So that's congratulations. So how do you celebrate that when you hear a win like that?
I don't know.
Glass of wine with the wife and the mother-in-law and the mom.
Well, it definitely it definitely adds pressure. Like I was very nervous about opening the fourth room, the submarine crash, just because I always felt that we had pretty good reviews of the other three, and I only wanted, you always want to just keep moving forward, not stale out or baseline or do worse. So
yeah,
it definitely, I felt the pressure trying to design new rooms. So
there you go. And you've had good feedback from your new one.
Yeah. It is trying to make it the difficulty. Originally it was supposed to be, I was designing it to try to be the easiest room we had, and it's gotten good feedback and people have enjoyed it, but it didn't turn out to be it is still pretty challenging.
Well, that's good though. But you're keeping them all around the same time limit for like the best beat. So like that's got to say something too, that you like they're not one's 15 minutes and one's 45. Like the fact that all the time the beats are in that same average, I think must speak volumes for you as the creator for the room as well. Like
I'm happy with it. Yeah, I'm happy that it's between 30 and 40. I'd honestly probably change or look to edit something if it dropped below 30, just because we advertise it as a 60-minute room. So even though people that do really good in the room can get out in 30 minutes, that's not the average. But if someone starts beating it in 15, 20 minutes, I'd almost like feel bad, like something's wrong.
Yeah.
I do like to explain a lot to maybe some first-time players or people that look at the board and they get kind of they play the room and let's say they don't beat it, or they beat it with like 56 minutes and they look at the board and they almost like beat themselves up because they're like, wow, we didn't even come close to 35 minutes. Like I mentioned earlier, there is a bit of a cult following, and a lot of these times almost skew the expectation of the first time player, because I would say that like only 20% of teams actually beat the room. within the 60 minutes with only the 2 hints. So, I mean, 80% of players don't actually even 100% beat the room. So when it's your first time playing, the expectation of trying to beat the room at 35 minutes it can be a little bit of a letdown when you don't even beat the room, but it's normal. It's completely normal. I try to explain that every time. That is very normal for teams not to beat the room.
No, I think when me and my husband played there, we definitely had to get some hints, and we're just sitting like, do we do it? Do we try? Or do we just keep going? And then I was like, no, we got to get the hint, because now we're just wasting time spinning our wheels. Let's get the hint. Like, it's that balance between asking for the hint and still trying to beat the clock, or not, like that pressure when you're in there. What do you do? What choice do you make?
And some teams refuse to take a hint. No matter how much they're stuck, they'll just... I'm almost sitting here watching the camera begging for them to take a hint just so they can enjoy more of the room. There's always sometimes a puzzle that just has you stumped or
Yeah, no, for sure. So the add-on for the games in the front, was that something that you always envisioned as well, or was that like an add-on for you after you opened?
No, the business plan was purely an escape room, but the location and the way our entranceway is set up, it just kind of worked out that it's just a hobby of mine as well, the board games and tabletop gaming, that at the time, a store in Leduc that used to do it had just closed down while we were opening. So I figured that I might as well just kind of, being that I was in the hobby and I have kind of a large entranceway, that we should give it a shot. And it started off with ordering just a few and focusing more on escape room, because there's lines of products like Exit and Unlock that are basically tabletop escape rooms that people can play at home. I mean, it just kind of fit the bill a little bit better. So that was the focus to start. And then slowly we moved from a table with games on it that looked kind of sad to a shelf. And then we got a second shelf. And then the shelves just kept adding and the products kept changing. And then I always try to listen to the community a little bit too. I had a gentleman who still shops here today come and basically say, card games in Leduc have been popular and currently there's nowhere to play. I see you carry board games. Would you ever consider carrying things like Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that? And again, never was part of the plan, but I just kind of listened to the community. It started really small again, started with just a very small section, and then just kept growing it. And dice was the same thing. I didn't really know too much about Dungeons and Dragons, and I was basically told that I got to start getting dice. So we started carrying dice.
You were just told and you listened. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So when you say that you have the tabletop, so what does that look like? So if maybe not so much in this day and this time right now being where we are, but when it kind of loosens up and we our cases go lower, what does that look like for someone here in town?
So we do have a room in the back that is just basically a tables room. That's where we hold our Magic the Gathering events, and people who want to come play in the store as kind of almost like a neutral ground. If they don't want to have people over, they're always welcome to just kind of use a table. There's no table fee or anything like that. We tried promoting events. Unfortunately, I just don't think it never really took off with popularity. I think we're just missing, we're not, in comparing to some of the places in the city, we don't have like a liquor license and we're not a cafe. And so it's just not quite the same, but it's still available for people to come play. We kind of pivoted a little bit with the pandemic, being that we couldn't host the games anyways, that we took all the games that we had kind of gathered for in-store play, and we basically have now changed it to where we sell kind of like used games. And if you have a game at home that is like a hobby game, that just was popular, but never really was popular with your group.
Yeah.
You can trade it in kind of like a bookstore. So like a
Oh,
used
okay.
bookstore where you can bring in your old games, trade them in, and we'll give you store credit. And then, so yeah, that's kind of a new adventure that we're trying.
That's awesome. Actually, to be fair, I think that that's going to be quite successful because you do buy a game and then you're like, no, not quite. That's not what I thought it was. Or like, I think we have a couple of those games in our closet. To be fair, that you're like, yeah, it looks really good, but doesn't quite fit how we interact as people. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, if they wanted to come in and like use your tabletops, can they bring outside food and beverage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
We've always allowed that.
okay.
We do we did. The most we only ever really offer is pop, chips, chocolate bars. We almost just have like a snack section, but for people, but we don't really have anything
No.
to offer. So why
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me when someone brings a sandwich in. It's not like I'm trying to sell a sandwich. So
Okay, perfect. Well, you never know. I just wanted to make sure we're clarifying that for our listeners so they can make sure they're making some plans to come in.
yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything or any way that the city of Leduc can better support you?
Um, I'm not sure. No,
No,
I don't know.
more word of mouth. Come on out and try them out.
Yeah, I mean that'd be great for sure. Always, I mean, that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, for sure. Do you get lots of corporate from like NISQ and like businesses that way? Like, did you actually get quite a bit of corporate? I can see it being a great team building activity, actually.
We did, yeah. And a lot of it was during so even though we are normally only open like 4 to 10, I was always very flexible with a lot of the times they want to try to get it off during the business hours, right? So I would come during the day and open up, and we'd run just exclusive, basically just for them rooms, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had quite a few, I'd say, corporate events, and then that table room also we've rented out just as like a meeting room, basically, or we've had paint nights.
Oh yeah.
They just need a location to rent, and so it's just basically like a multi-purpose room at this point.
Oh. That's actually a fantastic add-on though, like for those corporate events and stuff. Like, so was that anticipated to have that, or was it just something that?
Yeah, it's almost yeah. When we're not running Magic events, we rented it out for like a party room. So if you wanted to have, like you could do an escape room and then have cake or whatever.
Yeah,
in the
totally.
party room. So that worked well. Christmas parties, we've had no frills and
Yeah.
different kind of locations in for all different sizes. I mean, it can range from you renting the whole venue and having access to all 4 rooms to just coming and wanting to do. I mean, for small businesses who only have maybe 6 employees, it's perfect because the one room, the 2 of the rooms are 2 to 6 players and 2 of the rooms are 2 to 10 players. So you only really need one. But for the larger businesses, we kind of rotate people through. So we could have like 30 people work in the rooms and some people in the party room. And then when the hour was up, just kind of shuffle people around. You could do more than one room in a night and stuff like that. So.
Well, I'm like, I'd be a good thing for my birthday coming up. Actually, that would be, I actually didn't know that you had that little like space. So you can like literally have your party and your entertainment in one spot. So,
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So where would you like to see your business in the next 5 years?
Still open.
Yes.
Because like right now, the escape rooms, we are basically just operating as a retail only. Just to come in and just sell the odd board game or cards at night. With the most recent health restrictions, we are unable to run the escape room. So right now, we're just kind of waiting for the go ahead to open that back up. But yeah, so that's kind of a big hindrance for us. But before all that happened, it had been kind of like almost like who knows if we could do it or not, but maybe even find a second location, because eventually we'll have to retire the rooms here, but it almost seems like a waste to take what I feel is a good room and well designed, and we have all the products and props for it already, and to just kind of bury it, where we could take it outside the area of where people maybe in the area have played it and restart it up, and it'd be kind of easier because we'd have everything ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Just opening a second location, I guess. But
that would be pretty cool. Would you be trying to keep it like local, or would you venture out, or what would that look like when you vision that?
It would definitely have to be a certain distance away, because I won't want to open, because we do get people traveling to do our escape rooms. Don't really want to open another location and have people come and it's the same rooms they did in Leduc.
Okay, yeah.
Just in Sherwood Park, let's say, or something. So I would say it'd have to be outside the capital region.
Oh, okay. Well, that's awesome though. Like expansion.
Yeah.
I hope when you're allowed to open again, like the cult following will be like a dam, like, because people who have that cult following are probably itching to have that kind of experience again, and to go out and like, that cult following that it follows. So
I have been noticing more and more phone calls that I'm having to say no to, basically, over Valentine's Day weekend and this week, now that it's not minus 400.
Yes.
There's definitely people wanting to get out. So we are getting a lot more phone calls looking to book, but
that's awesome. Well,
stick around when we're ready to open.
Yeah, well, it's always a bonus when they're getting the phone calls, right? So what is it that you love about the Leducan community? No, you've mentioned that you're so close to the capital region. Is there, has that been you mentioned that of being a focal thing for you and how it succeeded for your business? Is there anything else that you've noticed, or?
Well, escape rooms are very unique, where I don't, I wouldn't want to open up and have the same rooms in the same area, but they almost work like a movie, where once you see the movie, you don't really want to do the movie a second time. So escape rooms being very close to us, because like Edmonton has so many escape rooms, I don't really find that it works as competition. It almost works as advertising, because people that do escape rooms, if they enjoy them, they're not going to go back to the same escape room. They're going to look to, well, where else can I do another one type thing. So when they find a location that they like, and if they kind of exhaust all the rooms at that one location, they'll start looking for more. And I like to think that we've helped the locations in the city, because we've had so many people in Leduc that had never heard of an escape room or done an escape room, tried it, loved it, and have done all 4 of our rooms. And so they probably moved on looking for other locations. So yeah. I think having that many in Edmonton has definitely helped us, just not being that far away from Edmonton. And with those people that have done all the ones in Edmonton, they look to expand, and we're not that far away.
Do you ever chat with the other escape room owners about, different rooms are opening, or to keep it kind of different, or is it kind of the same cult but different silos?
No, I've never. Only once, the designer from another, I don't think he was even the owner, I think he was just the head designer of another escape room in Edmonton, came to play our rooms, and he really liked them. And the discussion was basically just what he's working on now, but we never really exchanged what I don't know. We didn't really exchange like a whole lot of ideas amongst that, but other than that, I mean, I go and play the rooms in the city, and I don't really tell them who I am. So they don't. So I go and do them. So I imagine maybe they've came and played the rooms here, and I just don't know it. I don't know.
So, you know what? Yeah. Okay. So you design and you own, and then you mentioned the other person, there's designers and owners. Like, that's kind of an interesting thought that you've just done it all, but some see the business as a business and then hire that part of it out.
That's right. Yeah. Because he was a carpenter by trade, I believe, and so he could also design and build. But also some are chained.
Okay.
So we're kind of just a single location, whereas say Exit on White, I believe exits, there's like 4 in BC. Like I believe it's a BC company. So there's I think there's 2 exits in Calgary. There's an exit like on White Ave, but then there's Richmond. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Yeah.
It's more, there are chains of them. So I think that's where kind of the designing team comes in.
Yeah. Okay. Because you're just like, I had an idea and I did it. I just assumed that was like the passion project for most of them, but if there's change, it might not be such like a one-man stop, right? So interesting that if you have ideas, you can come and be a designer potentially too
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So being from here in Leduc, if you had, or what's your favorite restaurant?
My favorite restaurant?
Yeah.
Probably Rural Roots.
Yeah? Go for the craft beer, do you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. No, they definitely have a lot of great beer and the food's awesome. So it's nice to have a place like that in Leduc.
Yeah, no. Chicken and waffles there, I think, were one of the best things that I've ever had. That's for sure. If you need a special gift, where do you go?
Special gift?
Yeah. Valentine's Day. Where did you go for some shopping?
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. You don't do a ton of shopping right now. Don't go out, don't do a lot of anything right now.
There's some truth to that. That's for sure. Yes.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
If you have on your day off, how do you spend it?
I don't. A lot of just relaxing at home.
Yeah. Reading up, thinking up new ideas, how you can change some rooms.
Yeah, and we've played with the idea of maybe coming up with almost like a 2-person speed room instead of going. We do have kind of like an area left that wouldn't really fit a full-sized room, but there's an idea that I want to kind of see how it would work. It probably wouldn't be an hour. Just trying to work out, like, would it be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 2-person, like almost like an express room.
Okay.
And what I would want to do with that, or if it would work, how it would work.
Well, that sounds interesting.
It never really stops. Even on days off, there's just like thoughts of what to do next. So, well,
I think the speed room might be like a really good idea, because if someone's looking to get into a room they've never done before, but they have some time to wait till the next one, they could do the speed room to, like, fill in that gap before, like, or do they usually book and know in advance when they're coming in?
Most of the time it's booking, but we do allow walk-ins. But this would definitely be the original idea. Just with the way things are, it made it difficult, but was to make like almost like a Valentine's couples room.
Oh, okay.
We just never had the time or really.
Wow.
When the setup for doing it.
Yeah. Well, when the world stops for you in that regards, right? It's I can understand not putting the
spending is definitely, we have to kind of watch it a lot more.
No, for sure, for sure. Is there any like hit board games or anything that that's a biggest seller for you in what you have available for now?
Well, Catan has been and probably always will be like one of the biggest, most popular, well-known. A lot of people in the hobby kind of refer to that as like the gateway game. Everyone either gets in playing Ticket to Ride or Catan, and they're great games. They play them and they kind of want more. And it's funny because it gets called that a lot, and it's true for a lot of people. Even for myself, this whole hobby thing got started with playing Catan. So we try to, outside of that, I mean, games like Splendor, Century, like I mentioned, Ticket to Ride, Villainous, Disney game.
That's my daughter's 10, and that's her first like board game that she was able to be her own character and like figure it out, like she's
Disney,
Villainous. Yeah, she always plays the same character, but like it's the first time that she's actually like been someone and like had to play a role that way and read the cards and that type of thing. So that's a really good game for kids, that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, they play a game and they find it easy, and they reading the rule books always sucks. But with how much the hobby has grown, and YouTube has made it so much easier. You can every single game has probably been done by someone on YouTube that has like a 3-minute recap of the rules. So I just find that sometimes there's a nervousness about buying a new game that's not a game that you've played with at your friend's house that you already know how to play, because the rule book could be extreme, but they've definitely, the YouTube has made it very easy to try to get into new games with just combining the rule book and seeing it. A lot of people visualizing what the rule book is trying to tell you is a lot easier than that. So it's funny. There is a board games uses kind of like a rating scale for light and heavy. Heavy being that there's like lots of rules, lots of stuff going on, and maybe not for a beginner player. But a game like Pandemic, I've had customers saying, well, I'm looking for a really easy game like Pandemic. And it's funny because Pandemic is actually rated almost above average on like kind of the light to heavy scale.
Okay.
So little do they know that like they've already kind of learned like a middle of the road game, that there's probably so many games out there. They just think it's really easy because that's the game they know.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm gonna have to check the YouTube. I'm gonna have to check YouTube out, because me and my husband got a game and we don't play it that often because the rule book is a novel, and it's just like I can't get past the first 10 minutes to remember the rules to get into the game to have him beat me, because he beats me in every game. But like it's we're gonna check out YouTube on that, because I never would have thought to look on YouTube to how to play that game.
Some of the newer games are actually coming out with the sponsored YouTube channel on them. So it will actually say, go to this guy's channel for like a more in-depth recap of the rules. So they've started incorporating that right on the packaging.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I think that's brilliant, because like me and my husband, actually, I think we bought the game at your place, at your store there. And I can't get past like the first 10 minutes to remember where to put the like oil thing, and I can't to even just play the game. I think we played it twice, and he kicks my butt every time, because that's.
You know what the game's called?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you where it is in my house, and I can tell you there's little oil derricks in your country, but I can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
No, but I'm definitely going to look it up on YouTube. That's brilliant. Is there anything that you'd like to say to our listeners today to finish off our podcast today?
No, if you, I don't know, come check us out.
Yeah. Get your board games there. He's open to suggestions, right?
I do try to help people out if they know nothing about games. I will try to, I try to point them out to as I mentioned, what a lot of people consider the gateway games. And same with people that have played a lot of the gateway games, if they want to take a step into a game that they haven't, I mean, maybe a little bit higher up. I do my best to try to point out maybe games that they might like.
No, I
Or
think
even
that's
a big thing is just not having a ton of games that all do the same thing in your collection. So I like to try to ask, like, what games do you already have? And if you already have, like, let's say a couple tile placement games, it's nice to kind of mix it up and maybe not recommend like a third tile placement game. So that way your entire collection is not revolving around the same mechanic.
okay. Yeah, that would make sense. I never even would have thought about games that way. I don't even think we have one tile game. To be fair, like Villainous, I think is about as a tile as we get, which really isn't. That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being on our podcast today, and I really hope that our listeners can see past also the escape rooms and also know that you do the board games and stuff as well. To be fair, I remember buying it there, but it wasn't until we had this conversation that I actually would have thought to stop that at your store for getting board games and different games as well. So, yeah, thank you so much for being our guest, and we're looking forward to when it's opening up, and let's see if I can at least get past one of the 60 minutes without a hint. That'll be my goal.
Perfect. Well, thanks again for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening and supporting our business community. As our world is changing frequently, the businesses that we are interviewing could be at different stages of reopening than when we recorded. So please check their websites, give them a call before heading down to their shop. Thank you again for supporting local and keeping our business community alive.